Hello guys, welcome back to Custom Gamer, a show where we talk about level design while playing cool maps. And of course this is part 5 of Black Mesa Source, the free game available from blackmesasource.com and soon on Steam Greenlight. Now, one of the things that I haven't really mentioned yet is that I love the way that your body gets caked in all this liquid as you're playing this game. So things like blood just like splatters all over your hands and your weapon, like the slime there from the bull squid as well. It's a really nice effect that wasn't in the original Half-Life. I know I was moaning last episode about Gordon's derpy grenade arms, but I managed to get a decent one off there. So let's compare with the original Half-Life, shall we? This area is pretty much an exact duplicate, just obviously a lot more visual fidelity, but the layout is essentially the same. Even to the point where it's got the same enemies like bull squids and head crabs. It's interesting that the bull squids attack the head crabs in Half-Life and in Black Mesa Source as well, when most of the other Zen creatures seem to get along quite nicely with each other. The bull squids just seem to detest everyone and everything. I was trying to get through here because I remember there being some holes in the walls here in the original Half-Life that you had to walk through in order to progress, but it's actually in the opposite side here. It's the only one that's open in Black Mesa Source. But apart from that, this area is pretty much identical. You can even see here like the ladders and doors are practically in the same places. There's just a little side track around here, whereas in the original you exit straight into the main room again. Nice little touch here, all the little bugs crawling around on the floor, the little cockroaches. That was nice. Those red eyes on the bull squid are so creepy. I can't remember if I've mentioned this before or not, but damn. There's a couple of other spots later on in future parts, I guess, where the bull squid's eyes just like glow in the dark. It's creepy as all hell. So this next part was a part which I wasn't really looking forward to that much. It's one of the more annoying jumping puzzles in the original Half-Life. All these crates suspended in mid-air that you have to jump around on in order to get to the other side. Now again, as I mentioned before, like one of the problems I'm having with Black Mesa Source right now is that they've replicated Half-Life so exactly, including all the stuff that I really didn't like about the original Half-Life. It's all there. I'll talk about it as we come to it, but this room's a great example of it, where it's a jumping puzzle with an instant death mechanic. If you fail a jump, you die. There's no two ways about it. It's just annoying. It's antiquated design these days. There's 101 different ways they could have made this less painful. But hey, I think I'm just going to have to accept that this is very much a graphical upgrade of Half-Life, not a reimagining of Half-Life. We'll just have to leave it at that, I suppose. It's just a shame that there's so many things that could have been fixed or improved and that they haven't really done that. I suppose there's a couple of little added benefits that you do get when you like go to a more modern engine, like for instance when you jump onto these crates here, they kind of sway with the new physics engine, which is quite nice. Unfortunately, they added this crate here, which is actually a dummy crate. If you jump onto it, then you have essentially failed the puzzle, and you have to commit suicide in order to actually progress. Brilliant, well done. So don't jump onto that crate. You want to jump straight onto this one here, yeah. And from then on it's fairly simple kind of platforming. Now one thing I've noticed a lot of people have been complaining about really is the kind of jumping or crouch jumping system in Black Mesa Source. Now honestly I haven't really had that much trouble with it, but I'm seeing a lot of posts on message boards and things like that saying that people really test the jumping system in this game. But I haven't really had a problem with it. So here's footage of the jumping puzzle in the original Half-Life. You can tell it's pretty much identical, it's just the crates are in slightly different places. But there's no kind of dummy crates and things like that, so... Kind of a bit perplexed why they added that one crate down there, which essentially puts you into a fail state without killing you. There's some really funny posters on the walls here. They're kind of all over the place. There's so many little Easter eggs and things like that on the posters, and little props here and there as well. So this next area is quite interesting. This is the lift up onto the office complex level, you can see in the distance there. And in the original Half-Life, you kind of take a different route, but it's essentially the same kind of distance to it, I suppose you could say. You can see here, you look out onto the room you're just in, and you can see exactly the same view in the Half-Life 1 footage there, and then the lift is just around the corner here. And in Black Mesa Source, you've got this kind of loading dock area first, which I guess makes a lot more sense when you look at it as Black Mesa as a complex rather than just a series of levels. It would make sense to have like a holding area outside a freight elevator like this, so I quite like that change. And we go on to Office Complex. Now this set of levels in Black Mesa Source is an absolute maze. Again, as I've been mentioning in previous episodes, they've been adding lots of different side areas and kind of extra rooms and things like that. And in a level like Office Complex, it just makes things really, really crazy to navigate. Because all the rooms look the same, and it's like there's not very much kind of unique detail in each. They all kind of look the same, kind of standard office rooms.
Who's there?
Yeah, I'd be pretty freaked out by that as well. So a nice change here is that you've got the suit energy pack inside the vent here, which kind of draws the player's attention into it. In the original Half-Life it was so tense, kind of getting close to the water there, and if you got too close it would just like pretty much insta-kill you. So it's nice they put it there to kind of coax the player into the vent in order to progress. That's nice.
Oh, Gordon. If I had known it was you, I would have let you in. Everybody's heading for the surface, but I think they're crazy. If we stay put, someone is bound to come and rescue us. Right?
Keep thinking those happy thoughts. It'll help.
Don't you think we should wait here for a while?
So this area essentially works the same. You turn the power off in order to progress past this death trap here. So it's a nice thing that's a little bit different. In the original Half-Life, this zombie at the end of the hall here actually tried to break through the wooden door. I've got some footage of it I'll put in. It's just interesting that they decided to change that. There's probably a lot of work on the animation, I guess, and the scripting. And generally there's a lot more combat in this area than there was in Half-Life 1. You'll see in a moment once you get into the area with all the crates and boxes. There's generally a lot more gameplay involving physics objects as well, like again things like the flares and things like that you can throw at the enemies. In Half-Life 1 this area was fairly bare in terms of combat. Generally these areas in Half-Life 1 were just full of crates that you had to knock down the occasional head crab. That's been spiced up a little bit now.
Hey, over here! I need your help. One of these little buggers latched onto my buddy's head. We gotta get that thing off before... Hey, good news. Help just arrived. Wait, hey!
Now this is kind of a nice sequence because you can actually save that security guard if you're fast enough. Unfortunately I just derped out here and wasn't, and he'll actually let you through this gate and there's some supplies you can pick up if you save him, which is exactly the same as what happens in the original Half-Life if you watch the footage here. It's exactly the same, it's just a lot easier to save him in Half-Life because you've got a shotgun by that point. Now, I do have a quick look down here in Black Mesa source, but there's absolutely nothing down there, so apart from a couple of supplies, nothing to see here, so we'll just skip past this part of the footage and go back up. Yeah, it's a shame I didn't save that guy because you'd have a little buddy to go around this part of the map with, which would have been quite fun. But yeah, it all ends up just kind of blending into one big mess, I suppose you could say. I got quite confused during this part of the level about where I was. The navigation's quite awkward because there's just so many twists and turns and everything. It's very easy to lose your bearings. I'm sure you'll remember this puzzle from Half-Life 1 as well. This one always seems to stick in my mind, I don't know why. It's just one of those things, I guess. It's essentially exactly the same in Black Mesa source as well. Come back and get that one later. Yeah, so this scene in the original Half-Life was slightly different. You just had a couple of head crabs that fell out of the ceiling vents with you. Or there weren't any hound eyes or anything like that. And then you had the box puzzle here, which I always had so much trouble with that box puzzle. It was like the box would always get stuck on like an invisible wall in the floor. It must be like a BSP geometry area or something, or where two brushes combine and the BSP compiler hasn't quite stuck them together properly or something, because the box always gets stuck along this plane on the floor. And it took me so long to get it in the right place. You could actually jump up there. But I finally managed it.
Power 20%.
And now we get our first kind of hint that things might not be so rosy on the surface. It's a great way to kind of subtly introduce the fact that the military might not be your friends. The fact that the automated defences are just shooting anything and everything, regardless of whether it's human or alien. If you haven't played the game before, I remember I was just thinking, this is interesting. And again, it apes the Half-Life 1 scene almost identically. So again, in both games, that door that I just opened leads back to the crate stacking puzzle room. Thank God that's over with. We can continue now. I was wondering if there were any supplies down there, but I really didn't want to take a look, because the sentry guns do a ton of damage in Black Mesa Source.
I heard screams up ahead. You first.
Now, can you guess what I'm thinking right now? As I aim at his head. Oh, I saw the Magnum and I wanted to shoot him so badly, but
that thing with the missing leg?
I decided not to.
Do you think this is the right way out?
Masterful self-control.
Well, it can't get any worse than this.
So I think this area, more than any other, kind of suffers from the problem of getting lost very easily. There's a lot of areas in this part of the map where there's a lot of like 360-degree turns and lots of, side areas and rooms that you can explore, and after a while it all just mushes together into, like I mentioned before, just a big mess where you're not really sure where you are anymore. There's not a lot of kind of landmark details.
Excuse me.
Which confuses things a bit.
It could be help. Shh.
Now this area here in the original Half-Life, if you look through that security grate, there's a couple of scientists in there that turn the light off when you look through.
Happy
Seeing the Half-Life 1 footage here. So I don't think I remember seeing that scene in Black Mesa, but the scientists are there.
What did I ever do to you?
Just have some fun with Barney, why not?
Oh shit, not good.
I got you.
Heads up!
So here's our first big Vortigaunt fight. For the most part, I enjoy the Vortigaunts in Black Mesa Source. The only thing I dislike is that they've sped up their kind of charge-up time when they fire their blasts. No, this is kind of a problem I have with a lot of the gameplay in Black Mesa Source. It's just a lot faster than the original Half-Life, and in some cases I just feel it's too fast. The thing about Half-Life is that because most of the attacks had a big kind of pre-charge animation or something like that, especially with the Vortigaunts, if you were skillful you could practically avoid all the damage. In Black Mesa Source that's practically impossible because they charge at their attacks so fast. This is a criticism I'm going to level at the human enemies in Black Mesa Source as well, but generally because everything's so much more deadly in Black Mesa, you just feel like you have to just kind of stay back and hide behind boxes instead of getting into the fight.
One less horror in the world.
Which is something I really enjoyed about Half-Life and Half-Life 2, is that you can just Rambo it up and use your skill level to avoid damage.
Time's over.
Whereas in Black Mesa you have to be a lot more kind of considered with your positioning and what you're actually doing. Which I wasn't a giant fan of, to be honest. Now, I can't remember if I found him in Black Mesa Source or not, whether he's even here, but there's the classic scientist death from Half-Life, which is the guy crushed by a lampshade. That's in this area of the game. And yeah, I'll have to watch the footage as I commentate it and see if he's actually here.
Stay back! Take her! It's not my time!
That was the one scientist
Don't
death in the
worry,
original
he's
Half-Life
human.
that everyone noticed, because with everything
you're trying
going
to
on, this
escape,
guy gets killed
I'm
by a
coming with
lampshade.
you.
I'm not so sure we should go to the surface. What if the world finds out what we're doing down here?
Suit yourself, Clifford. All right, which way out of here?
You ever seen anything like this?
I really don't know.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting that the scientists are worried about what's going on outside.
Sorry.
This wasn't really touched on very much in the original Half-Life. A lot of the dialogue was just about surviving rather than the wider implications of what they did here. So it's interesting that there's a bit more dialogue exploring that in Black Mesa
What's
Source.
that stench?
You can't be serious.
So this is the end of Part 5, guys. In Part 6 we'll be finishing off Office Complex and getting into our first encounter with the military, which could be interesting. So I'll see you next time.